You are in the hospital room. It is late. The nurses have come and gone. The lights are low. And you are holding this tiny person who is, as of right now, completely new to the world. Nobody walks in at that moment and hands you a bill. But if someone in that room were actually honest with you, if they sat down and told you the full financial truth of what just happened, they would hand you a number. $300,000. That is what the average American family will spend raising one child from birth to age 18. Not college, not grad school, not helping them with a down payment on a first apartment, just getting them to 18. $300,000. And the question almost nobody stops to answer, like the question nobody actually breaks down with real numbers, is where does it go? Not the vague answer, not kids are expensive, what do you expect? The actual answer, category by category, dollar by dollar. Because when you see where the money is really moving, some of it makes complete sense. And some of it will genuinely catch you off guard. Yeah, not because the number is dishonest, but because the average hides the spikes, and the spikes are where people get blindsided. My name is Jack. I am 56. I have been through this. I have watched the money move through a family budget in real time over years, and I have watched firsthand what happens to retirement accounts like yours and other people's when you never stop to add up what is actually leaving and why. If that is the kind of breakdown you want, real numbers, no sugarcoating, hit subscribe. If this changes how you think about your household spending right now, that is what this channel exists to do. Quick note, I am not a financial advisor, and nothing here is financial advice. These are real numbers, real math, and my own perspective. What you do with it is up to you. Let's go through every dollar. The first thing to understand, this number is not evenly spread. The first mistake people make when they hear $300,000 is divided by 18. You do the math in your head. $16,000 a year, about $1,300 a month, manageable. You think, I can handle that. That is not how it works. The costs are not evenly distributed across 18 years. They spike early, flatten slightly during the elementary school years, then spike again hard in the teenage years. And both of those spikes hit you at the exact moments when your career is still building, your debt load is still heavy, and your financial runway to recover is the shortest it will ever be. You do not get the money when you need it. You spend the money when you have the least margin for error. That is the first thing nobody explains clearly. Now let's break down where it goes. Category 1, housing, $87,000. The single largest cost category in raising a child is not childcare. It is not food. It is housing. The USDA's report on expenditures by families, the most widely cited data set on the cost of raising a child, puts housing at approximately 29% of total lifetime spending per child. 29% of $300,000 is $87,000. You might push back on that immediately. You might say, I was already paying rent or a mortgage before I had kids. My housing cost does not change just because I added a child. That is true until it is not. What actually happens is this. Before kids, you are in a 1-bedroom or a comfortable 2-bedroom. That works. You are managing, then you have a child and you upgrade to a larger 2-bedroom. Maybe $300 more per month, fine. Then a second bedroom becomes a necessity, not a luxury, and you upgrade again, $400 to $600 more per month than where you started. Over 10 years, that upgrade alone, not your baseline housing cost, just the increment, is $48,000 to $72,000. And that is before you factor in the school district decision. The National Association of Realtors has documented consistently that homes in top-rated school districts command a meaningful premium over comparable homes just outside those lines. Families move for school districts without ever doing the full math on what that single decision costs them across a 30-year mortgage. The housing category is not just your mortgage. It is every housing decision you make differently because of the child in the next room. Category 2, food, $54,000. Food is approximately 18% of the total, about $54,000 over 18 years. That averages to $3,000 a year or $250 per month per child. In the early years, that number is genuinely manageable. Babies and toddlers are not expensive eaters. If you are not nursing, formula can run $150 to $200 per month in the first year. But once you are past that stage, the food cost is actually low for several years. What nobody warns you about is the teenager. A hungry teenage boy, I can say this from personal experience, can add $400 to $600 per month to your grocery bill. Not snacks, full meals, multiple full meals every day. You buy groceries on Sunday, and by Wednesday, the refrigerator looks like nobody has shopped in 2 weeks. The food cost in years 13 through 17 is not the same as years 2 through 6. The national average hides that spike completely. Budget for the back half of childhood to cost meaningfully more than the front half in this category, and do it before you hit it. Category 3, childcare and education, $48,000, and why that number misleads you. This is the category where the USDA average is most dangerous because it is the most misleading. The USDA estimate for childcare and education before college is roughly 16% of the total lifetime cost, about $48,000 over 18 years. When you see that number in isolation, it sounds manageable. It is not. The problem is that $48,000 is a national average spread across all 18 years, including the years your child is sitting in free public school and costing you almost nothing in this category. What it completely obscures is the front-loaded reality of childcare costs for children under 5, which is where the real damage happens. Full-time infant care, which is what you need if both parents are working, averages between $1,300 and $2,400 per month nationally in 2024, according to Childcare Aware of America. In major metro areas, New York, Boston, San Francisco, Chicago, you're looking at $2,500 to $3,500 per month for licensed infant care. Take a conservative national middle figure of $1,800 per month. That is $21,600 per year. For the first 4 years before your child reaches kindergarten and enters free public school, $86,400. Before they have set foot in a classroom that does not charge you monthly, the USDA's entire 18-year education budget is $48,000. Childcare alone in the first 4 years in a modest cost city can come within reach of doubling that. If you live in a high-cost city and both parents are working full-time, you can spend close to $100,000 in childcare costs before your child blows out 5 candles on a birthday cake. That is not an exaggeration. That is the math. The childcare category is not a minor line item. For working families in 2024, it is often the single largest spending category in the first 5 years of a child's life. And the USDA national average understates it significantly for most urban and suburban households. Category 4, transportation. $45,000. Transportation is approximately 15% of the total, $45,000 over 18 years. This one builds slowly, feels manageable for a long time, and then hits you at the end. In the early years, it shows up as a larger vehicle. You had a sedan. Now you need a crossover or an SUV. At $100 to $200 per month in higher payment and insurance. Spread that across 10 years, and you are looking at $12,000 to $24,000 from that one upgrade decision. But then your child turns 16. Adding a teenage driver to your auto insurance policy raises your annual premium by anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000 per year, depending on your insurer and your state. Over the 2 years before they turn 18, $2,000 to $6,000 in insurance costs alone, on top of everything else. And then there are the years before they can drive themselves when you are the transportation. Every practice, every game, every event, the gas has a cost. The second vehicle some families now need because one car no longer handles the schedule, that feeds directly back into this category. 15% of $300,000, the math holds. Category 5, healthcare. $27,000. Healthcare is roughly 9% of the total, about $27,000 over 18 years. In the early years, this category feels light because child visits and vaccines are covered under most plans and kids are generally resilient. Then come the expenses nobody actually budgets for. Braces. The American Association of Orthodontists puts the average cost at $3,000 to $8,000 per child. One child, one round of treatment, $5,000 to $6,000 out of pocket after insurance. Two children who both need orthodontic work, $10,000 to $16,000 from that single line item alone. Then there are glasses, sports physicals, sports injuries, emergency room visits, and increasingly mental health support. Therapy for a child or teenager runs $100 to $200 per session out of pocket, monthly, consistently, over a year, $1,200 to $2,400. Over multiple years, real money that the USDA average does not flag clearly. Healthcare at 9% is not overstated, but the timing is unpredictable, the peaks come without warning, and the cost per incident is almost always higher than the average suggests you should plan for. Category 6, clothing and miscellaneous, $39,000. Clothing is 6% of the total, about $18,000. Miscellaneous is 7%, about $21,000. Clothing is the category where the math becomes almost embarrassing in hindsight. Kids grow out of everything within a year, often faster. You buy shoes in the fall, and by spring, they do not fit. You buy a winter coat, and by the following winter, you are buying another one. Over 18 years, $18,000 starts to feel like a number on the low side for families who are not shopping discount every single time. Miscellaneous covers activities, sports equipment, musical instruments, school supplies, electronics, and the endless category of things that do not fit neatly anywhere else. The competitive sports line inside miscellaneous alone can be significant. If your child gets serious about a travel sport, hockey, competitive gymnastics, travel baseball, club soccer, you can spend $3,000 to $10,000 per year when you add up fees, equipment, travel, and coaching. Over several seasons, miscellaneous alone can run well above the USDA average for families with an athletically active child. The number that is not inside the $300,000. Here is what the $300,000 does not cover. College. The College Board's most recent data puts the average cost of 4 years at a public in-state university, tuition, fees, room and board, at roughly $110,000 to $120,000 in today's dollars. 4 years at a private university, $220,000 to $300,000 or more. The $300,000 gets your child to 18. Then the meter starts again, but the number most people never actually calculate is this one. If you took $1,000 per month, a fraction of average monthly child spending, and invested it consistently in a low-cost index fund from birth to age 18, at a historical average return of 7%, you would end that period with approximately $430,000. That is not a guilt trip. Children are not a financial calculation, but the opportunity cost is real, and understanding it changes how you approach every discretionary spending decision inside that $300,000 total. Because here's the honest truth. Most of that number is not negotiable. Housing, food, healthcare, childcare, you are paying those. But some of it is the activities, the extras, the upgrades beyond the baseline, and every dollar of discretionary child spending is a dollar not compounding in your retirement account for the next 2 decades. Knowing the difference between mandatory and discretionary, actually knowing it, changes the quality of every call you make. The identity shift. Before you had children, you could look at your retirement account and draw a clear line. Here's where I am. Here is where I need to be. Here is the path. After you have children, that line gets blurry. The money moves differently. It does not leave in one big obvious decision. It leaves in 10,000 small ones. Shoes, car payment upgrade, school trip deposit, birthday present, braces, another pair of shoes because the last pair wore out. Each one feels reasonable in isolation. None of them feel like a retirement decision. But across 18 years, they add up to $300,000. The people who come through that period in the strongest financial shape are not the ones who spent the least across the board. They are the ones who knew while the money was moving exactly where it was going and why. 3 steps to take right now. Step 1, run a real child cost audit for your household. Pull the last 3 months of statements and add up every dollar that moved specifically because of your child. Food above your baseline, clothing, activities, childcare, healthcare out of pocket, the housing increment. Annualize it. Most parents have never done this. The number will surprise you. Step 2, separate your mandatory categories from your discretionary ones. Housing, food, childcare, healthcare, largely fixed. Activities, extras, electronics, clothing beyond the basics, negotiable. You cannot meaningfully cut the mandatory categories. You absolutely can rethink the discretionary ones without your child suffering for it. Step 3, create a pairing habit. For every significant discretionary upgrade you make for your child, move a percentage directly into your own retirement account that same week. Not as guilt, as balance. Spend $500 on a travel sports season. Move $100 to your IRA the same day. The habit of pairing these 2 decisions will change how you think about both over time. You cannot out-earn 18 years of undisciplined discretionary spending, but you can outplan it. And the families who do are the ones who retire on their own terms. Drop a number in the comments. What is the single biggest surprise expense you hit as a parent that nobody warned you about?